There's a question that quietly sits in the mind of almost every astrology student. Not what does my ascendant mean, but something even deeper. Why this ascendant? Out of all 12 possible ascendants, why did destiny pick this one for you? At the exact moment you took your first breath, one sign was rising on the eastern horizon. If that moment had been even 2 hours earlier or later, your whole ascendant could have changed. Your first house, your life path, the order of your houses, your karmic experiences, even the way people see you, would have played out through a completely different lens. So, was it just timing? Or was the timing itself meant to be? In the Vedic tradition, time is never separate from karma. Time itself is one of the main ways karma shows up. The soul doesn't just wander in at some random second. It arrives at the exact moment when the cosmic clock matches the lessons it's here to learn. That's why the ancient sages saw the birth chart as a reflection of destiny. Not because the planets force things to happen, but because they reveal the pattern the soul already carries. And out of everything in the horoscope, the ascendant has a special place. The moon shows the state of the mind. The sun shows the purpose of the soul. The planets point to different areas of experience. But the ascendant is the doorway through which all of life is experienced. It shapes the body, the temperament, the first instinct, the way you approach the world, the order of every house. It's the stage where every other planet gets to play its part. Think of the same actors performing 12 different plays. The actors stay the same, but change the stage, and the whole story changes. That's the power of the ascendant. So today, let's move through all 12 ascendants, not just to understand their personalities, but to understand why a soul might be given each one. We start with Aries, because every cycle starts with fire. Aries is movement before hesitation, action before overthinking, courage before certainty. A soul born with Aries rising often carries unfinished karma around initiative. Maybe in past lives, chances were missed. Maybe fear got in the way of action. Maybe leadership was avoided. Now life doesn't really allow that. This time, the soul keeps getting pushed into situations where decisions can't wait. The lesson is pretty clear. Act, trust yourself, learn courage not from theory, but from doing. And after learning to move, the soul may need to learn something completely different because action without stability falls apart pretty fast. That's where Taurus comes in. Taurus teaches steadiness, building, endurance, the value of things that grow slowly. A Taurus ascendant often finds that life rewards patience way more than speed. Instead of chasing 100 different possibilities, they're guided again and again toward building something solid. Whether it's wealth, relationships, knowledge, or inner peace, their karma says, take care of what actually matters. Not every win comes from a fight. Some come from staying consistent. But once stability is in place, another challenge shows up. Knowledge, communication, adaptability. Life gets too big to experience through just one angle. So Gemini arrives. Gemini teaches a different kind of movement. Not movement of the body, but movement of the mind. These souls are pushed to ask questions, to observe, to connect people, to share ideas, to stay curious, because curiosity clears away ignorance. The Gemini ascendant reminds us that wisdom usually doesn't start with answers, it starts with better questions. But eventually, knowledge alone isn't enough for the human heart. Information explains life, emotion gives it meaning. And so the journey reaches Cancer. Cancer reminds the soul that strength isn't always loud. Sometimes strength looks like kindness, protection, care, the ability to nurture another life. A Cancer ascendant often learns that emotional sensitivity isn't weakness, it's awareness. Their biggest lessons usually come through family, belonging, security, and learning how to protect both themselves and the people they love. Then After the heart opens up comes the urge to shine, to express, to create, to inspire. Leo enters the story. Leo isn't just about authority, it's about radiance. The sun doesn't compete with other stars, it just shines. In the same way, the Leo ascendant is asked to find real confidence, not borrowed confidence, not ego, not applause, real confidence, the kind that stays even when nobody's clapping. Leadership only really means something when it's used to serve others. That's the hidden lesson of Leo. But life soon teaches another truth. Power without refinement gets wasted. That's where Virgo starts doing its work. Virgo notices what everyone else misses, the tiny flaws, the small details, the systems that quietly keep everything running. A Virgo ascendant learns that greatness often lives in small daily habits. Every correction, every improvement, every honest act of service. These become spiritual practice because perfection doesn't come through criticism, it comes through steady refinement. And once refinement is understood, life brings in another mystery. No one exists alone. Every action affects someone else. Every choice creates balance or imbalance. This is Libra. Libra teaches harmony, relationships, justice, beauty. The Libra ascendant keeps discovering themselves through other people, friendships, partnerships, marriage, negotiation, cooperation. The lesson isn't to disappear into others, and it's not to shut others out either. It's to find balance, that sweet spot where individuality and partnership support each other. Still, balance isn't the final lesson, because sooner or later, every soul goes through transformation. Scorpio waits here, probably the most misunderstood ascendant of them all. Scorpio isn't about darkness, it's about rebirth. These souls rarely stay the same person for long. Life keeps asking them to surrender. Loss, healing, renewal. Everything fake gets stripped away until only truth is left. The Scorpio ascendant learns that real power isn't control over other people, it's control over yourself. After transformation, the soul naturally starts asking, what's beyond just surviving? Meaning, purpose, truth. That search gives rise to Sagittarius. Sagittarius expands every horizon: physical, mental, philosophical, spiritual. The archer reminds us that life is bigger than whatever is happening right now. Every journey becomes a lesson, every teacher is temporary, every experience turns into wisdom. These souls usually never stop searching because the goal isn't just knowledge, it's understanding. But wisdom alone doesn't build a world. Ideas need structure, dreams need discipline. That's where Capricorn rises. Capricorn teaches responsibility, commitment, patience, mastery earned through effort. A lot of Capricorn ascendants find that success shows up later than they expected, not because destiny forgot them, but because strong foundations can't be rushed. The mountain feels hard to climb because the view from the top is worth it. And after structure comes innovation. Aquarius asks, what if things could be different? These souls naturally question the usual way of doing things, not just to rebel, but because growth needs fresh thinking. Aquarius reminds us that progress starts when someone is willing to imagine another possibility. Their karma often pulls them toward communities, technology, humanitarian work, or unusual paths. Their lesson is independence without isolation, originality with responsibility. Finally, the journey reaches Pisces, the last sign, not because it's the end, but because it gathers up the wisdom of every sign before it. Pisces dissolves boundaries. It reminds the soul that underneath every identity, every success, every failure, there is still pure consciousness. A Pisces ascendant often feels life more deeply than words can explain. Their lessons revolve around surrender, faith, compassion, forgiveness, service, and eventually the realization that separation itself may be an illusion. Now, here's the interesting part: every one of these 12 ascendants looks completely different, and yet none is better, none is worse. Each one just prepares the soul for a different kind of lesson. One soul learns courage, another learns patience, another compassion, another discipline, another surrender. Different classrooms, same final destination. And remember, your ascendant is only the beginning. The Lord of the ascendant, its strength, its aspects, the planets sitting in the first house, the divisional charts, the planetary periods, the transits, all of these show how your journey unfolds. But the ascendant tells us where it starts. So maybe the deepest question isn't why was I born with this ascendant? Maybe the better question is what is this ascendant trying to wake up in me? Because once you ask that, life stops feeling random. Every challenge becomes a lesson. Every delay becomes preparation. Every win feels earned. And the birth chart isn't just a prediction of events anymore. It becomes a guide for growth. Maybe that's why the sages looked at the rising sign before almost everything else. Because before asking what will happen, they first wanted to understand who this soul has come here to become.